push the clock forward, push it back. It's a mess. Wanted to put a button on this a little bit. What I didn't tell you and share with you is that there was a study on public health policy recommendations by this fellow named Barnes, or he cited studies that show that the annual removal of an hour has been associated with more workplace injuries, auto accidents, and hinders moral decision making. This was in a paper. In the paper was published in the Perspective on Psychological Science. Barnes and his co-author Christopher Drake of the Sleep Disorders and Research Center at Henry Ford Hospital suggested that daylight savings time should be eliminated. All right. So I know there are at least two other people on the planet that feel the same way. They contended, based on their research of multiple studies showing its negative effects on cognitive ability, that, you know what? At the end of the day, no pun intended, forget about it. Health in the work, your health is affected. I was wondering that. I said, I wonder about accidents. Does that, and sure enough, I found something that supported, a thought occurred to me as I was driving into work this morning. I saw several accidents this morning. This one it was not funny, but there were 3 cars involved. All cars were white, and all cars were a van, and all drivers were women, and they were standing on the side of the road, and they were sitting on the concrete abutment, whatever, and they did not look happy. I smiled. I thought, oh my goodness, I wonder if that's attributable to the time change. 3 white vans, all female drivers, and not happy. Oh, the things you see. 877-897-8255, 877-897-TALK. And then I saw a story trending about could sleep and could sleep affect, sleep apnea affect, be correlated to Alzheimer's. And it goes on and on, one story after another. I could do a whole week's worth of shows on sleep. One study, one issue after another.
I thought you were going to say, does sleep apnea affect the roommate that you have? Because it did.
You really want to talk about that? You want to talk about that? No, you don't want to talk about that.
I thought I was getting better until we watched the video.
Gary has issues with sleeping. When you travel, you do not want a room with that boy. No. He's got to get that squared away. And he said he had, but I said, no, you haven't. And he didn't believe me. So this trip, they roomed him with somebody else. And this poor fella came down the next day. He looked like he had been hit by a truck. I said, what's the matter? He said, I couldn't sleep. I said, oh. Not funny. Anyway, I hope you're doing well with your sleep and whatever else. We went to this trade show. And I walked around. And the thing that jumped out at me immediately, more so than at any other time, I saw references to plant-based all over the place. I was surprised not to find plant-based shoes. It was unbelievable. Everybody is on the bandwagon of plant-based. Plant-based protein bars, plant-based drinks, plant-based this, plant-based that. Everything's plant-based. Really? Where have they been? Where have they been? We've been talking about that for years on this show. Did you see that pattern?
Yes, I saw it. And not only that, I actually sampled some stuff that was plant-based pea proteins that they're making, I would say, like a beef substitute for. It was amazing. It didn't taste like cardboard anymore. It didn't taste like it was scraped off the bottom of somebody's shoe. It was really good stuff.
Well, the country of Ecuador, the government is trying to make it a connection with business here and importing. And we were there, and the government of Ecuador had sponsored 12, at least a dozen companies from Ecuador. Even those companies were featuring plant-based.
8 of the 12.
8 of the 12, okay. Everything is plant-based. Not only here, and everywhere. And I spoke with the people from Ecuador, the Ecuadorian government. I was trying to get them as a sponsor.
And you spoke to the head of the consulate for agriculture.
I did. One of the fellows that was with us, he said, Doc, I just stayed out of your way because you were dialoguing that guy. I said, the Ecuadorian government needs a sponsor in my show. Oh, I'm crazy. The Ecuadorian government, I kid you not, they brought 12 different companies to the trade show, lined them up. They had that had to be one of those booths is very expensive, thousands of dollars. I don't know how much they spent. God knows. But I said, why don't you sponsor the show? If you're interested in trying to make a footprint into this country and trying to impact people's health and want the world to know that you have Ecuadorian products that are healthy and good. Some of these products were great. They had a company that made cacao. That's all they specialized in was cacao. Organic, raw cacao. I said, they would be a great sponsor. The audience needs to know about cacao. It's chocolate and the benefits, and we could do. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. So everything is plant-based. Honest to God, at every bend and turn, you couldn't get away from it. That's good news and it's bad news. When we come back, we'll talk to Bill in Tampa. Apparently, he's not asleep. He's up and about. He's asleep. Well, I tell you, I can tell the difference. It's going to take me a few more days to get back into the groove here. But we'll be fine. I hope you're fine and doing well. We love being here with you. Call the show just like Bill, 877-897-8255. It's just you and me today. No guest. You're always the guest. That's why we show up. I'm the guest. We're here for you. You're listening to Let's Talk Nutrition. We are now coast to coast and globally. We have another story to tell you about this show. I was shocked. I'll let you know. We'll be right back. may be listening or watching the show and whatever you may be doing. Let's go to Tampa, Florida. William lives in Tampa, Florida. Bill, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, doctor. Before I mention about the sleep, someone I had an opportunity to work with when I lived in Los Angeles died about a week ago. It was just in the paper today. Jan Michael Vincent. Maybe people.
I liked him.
Yeah, he had terrible issues with drugs and so forth, and he just wouldn't stop it. But the best looking, naturally out of the box looking guy you ever saw.
He was handsome, Bill.
But it was a situation where every time I would be around him, and I've got many pictures of he and I together and so forth, a self-destruct. And people out there right now, I don't care, and this is going against everything, but I don't care if the doctor gives it to you or whatever. Any kind of mind-altering drugs are not good for you under almost 99% of the circumstances. You do not want to take anything that's altering your mind.
Well, you're going to have a bunch of psychiatrists that are going to push back on you on that. You understand that?
Yes, sir. But 99% of us, our minds are intact. What we need, and this sounds, it's warm and fuzzy from a big muscular guy, but what we need is chicken soup. What we need is human connection, and that's what your show brings. It's a show about life, because people, and now we'll get to the lack of sleep thing. You're a gym guy just like me. There's a specific look about people. You know what I'm going to say? The ones that don't get enough rest.
I know.
And I don't care if they're 21 and full of muscles. You see it in the face.
Yeah, it's true.
They brag about it.
Yeah, they do brag about it. I just can't emphasize enough. I mean, I could talk about sleep all week. We could do a whole week's worth of shows just on sleep and all the science behind it. I wanted to go back to Jan Michael Vincent. He was in the news a few years back. They were trying to rehabilitate him. So he was one of your clients. Is that it?
Yes, and I worked in Hollywood at that time with vitamins and nutrition and so forth.
Yeah.
Someone got me hooked up with him, and we ended up, and I was, going out at that time and so forth myself. So, we went out and hung out a couple times.
But he was a good guy, right? I mean, he seemed like a nice fellow.
He was fantastic, but he lost the gig with Airwolf because of it, and I met Ernest Borgnine and everything.
Oh, wow. That's a shame. I know he suffered, Bill. And then he disappeared. He wasn't in the news anymore, and they slip into obscurity, and they're suffering, and their life is in the tailspin. So he passed away last week. I didn't even know that. Being a celebrity doesn't make your life any easier, or you're not immune from all the health issues, and things are not what they seem, and they have a hard time just like everybody else. But I always appreciate your stories. It's nice to have those experiences because, you see the world from different eyes. Right, Bill?
Yeah, I'll tell you another story, and I didn't know him, but I was on a plane. I was married to a very pretty girl maybe 8 years ago, and we're divorced now. But anyway, we were on a plane, and Adam West was on the plane. People were coming up to him.
Batman.
And, of course, he was sitting across from my wife, and she's pretty, so he just kind of, I said, that's not, and he said, yeah, I wish they paid you for being famous. How would you feel if you were the original Batman? You were Batman, the original organic Batman, and you were never even invited to do a cameo appearance on any of the Batman movies.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I wanted to ask him that, but it would just make him feel bad. But, he was just a regular guy. But, going back to what you're saying, just because you're famous doesn't mean you have money, doesn't mean you have health, doesn't mean you have anything.
Doesn't.
It's all about the health, doctor. That's why we love you and your show.
Oh, thanks.
Because you mix life. There's no separation, folks. I don't care if you're working at McDonald's or CEO of Exxon. When your heart skips a beat, it's all the same.
It is the same, Biology is a great equalizer. And, these principles of biology apply, makes no difference. Always appreciate your calls, always appreciate your stories. And by the way, you work with a population where sleep deprivation is very common among the elderly, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
People will come into assisted living, for instance, and the relatives talk about, they're declining, and the staff is they're declining. Well, a 15-year-old bodybuilder would decline. You're lying in a bed all day doing nothing.
Exactly.
So a lot of things we misinterpret as some sort of life cycle. We can't put it off, and you're very good about making us know that, but we can prolong it, and it's the quality of life. People,
Absolutely.
You have to keep moving. You have to keep moving.
Got to do it. That's what Bill tries to do with his clients every day, and helps them a lot. And we appreciate you, Bill. Thank you so much for calling. Appreciate it. It's it's just truly amazing. When we were in California. You get to see a lot of people. You meet a lot of people. And Gary told me, tell him the story about somebody watches the show.
Yeah, from Mode
Nutrition.
Mode Nutrition. We were upstairs in the new products category, and we're walking around, and the guy goes, I started explaining who we were with, and I gave him a card and everything, and it's one of your hero cards, a picture of you. And the guy goes, hey, I listened to that guy. I just listened to a podcast on him on niacin. And he told that to the owner, and the owner looked at him, over at him, and said, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, they broadcast in Palm Springs. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. The odds of that. Here we are so far away, one person, and there are tens of thousands of people. There's, oh, yeah, I listen to Let's Talk Nutrition. Made my day. Tells me a lot. We appreciate it. And it's all because of you. We appreciate your listenership. By the way, I'm not going to let that sleep theme go. And I want to tell you about taking a nap. I had a professor in college, and I'll tell you that story when we come back, about napping. You can't make it up. Taking a nap, is that a good idea or a bad idea? What do you think? 877-897-8255. 877-897-TALK, and then I'll refer to some supplements that are outstanding for helping you get back into sleep equilibrium. I'll share that with you as well. Much going on here today, and you're there. Call 877-897-8255. No guests today. It's just you and me. That's pretty good. I like it. You are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition. We're coast to coast, and we're global, notwithstanding time change all over the planet. We'll be back. I'll see you when you come back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well and adjusted to the time change. My little sample, I'm only, it's not a random sample, but talking with people just in the building. How you doing? It's time. God, I hate it. Not one person. Oh, it's great. I love it. Nobody. Yeah. Got it. The theme for today is sleep and better sleep and healthier sleep so you can be healthier. It is a lifestyle behavior that is a necessary condition. You could be doing everything right, but if you're not getting proper sleep and rest, it's just a matter of time before you get out of balance and bad things start to happen. Now, when you're younger, you may be able to go a little longer, but even if like somebody just said, even if you're 15, Bill said, even if you're 15, if you're not getting proper sleep and rest, sooner or later, your performance goes down. You make mistakes, your brain function, executive function goes out the window. Make bad judgment calls. It's truly amazing. Sometimes the obvious just escapes us, and we try to remind ourselves here on the show gently that we need to stay in touch with what's important. There's people that would pay a pile of money to get a better night's sleep, and they're so frustrated. And you can have sleep and stress in the same sentence occurs and should occur frequently because they go together. They are not strange bedfellows. Pardon the pun. When under stress throughout the day, you build up an inventory of cortisol, a stress hormone, among the other stress hormones. It turns out that cortisol at high levels at night is going to disrupt your sleep. Your cortisol level should be high in the morning, low at night. But if you're under stress all day long, by the time you're ready to go to bed, you probably have more cortisol than you have sense. And that's why people under stress have such a difficult time sleeping. Then they said, well, maybe if I have a glass of wine and a couple of beers or whatever, I'll sleep better. No, you won't. No, you won't. It may get you to sleep, but it will disrupt your sleep. You wake up and you won't be able to go back to sleep. It's not a good idea. And then you get into sleeping pills. Oh, my goodness. The horror stories with sleeping pills. We heard a couple
at breakfast.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, there was the lady that cut her hair off and blamed her husband.
Yeah, she was I won't mention, she was taking a sleeping medication. And this particular medication was Ambien, is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
She decided she was going to be a hairstylist.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night, cut her hair, went back to bed, woke up, looked in the mirror and screamed and blamed her husband, you cut my hair. She didn't even have a memory.
Mm-mm.
So you go down that road. Now, sleeping medications under doctor supervision may be a strategy for a very short period of time. But long term, people get hooked on sleep medications. Then they need pills to keep them awake because they took too much sleep medication. So they're doing uppers and downers and everything in between, and things just come unraveled. I'm not making that up. That's more common than you think. Stress, sleep. And then, all these other lifestyle behaviors that can contribute to better sleep. Here's how to connect. Maybe you have some ideas. Maybe you figured out how to do this. If you had sleep issues and you resolved them, I would like to know how you did it and share it. You can always do that on the show. It's safe. This is a safe space. There's no criticism. You don't just go after somebody. I don't do that. You can come on, express your view and your ideas, and I'll engage and talk. You know that. Call us.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-TALK. Don't forget to follow us, like us, and share us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Let's Talk Nutrition. I think one of the biggest things that I have to deal with is that first initial falling to sleep.
You have a hard time?
Yeah. But once I fall asleep, I'm pretty much done.
Yeah. Well, you are, but anybody sleeping in the room with you is not.
Yeah.
We got to get that squared away because I have a story on sleep apnea and the health risk associated with that. I worry about you. Some people feel guilty because they want to take a nap in a day. Don't. I had a professor when I was working on my PhD, and he was one of my statistics professors, one of the best teachers I ever had, Dr. Brewer. And every day he would hang a sign on his door, day sleeper. He would take a nap in the afternoon. He stayed in his office. He had a couch in there, and you knew not to knock on that door. You stayed away. He took a nap every day, and it was a good idea. Some people feel guilty about that. You shouldn't. The American College of Cardiology recommends it. Catching midday shut-eye can help you lower your blood pressure. How about that? It seems that napping may do more than just reboot your energy level and improve your mood. That's good. Some research, March 7th, 2019, has found that people who took advantage of a midday snooze were more likely to have noticeable drops in blood pressure. And they compared that to people who didn't take a nap. And I do better when the nap is shorter rather than longer. When I say nap, I'm not talking about 2 hours here. They're called power naps, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. It's amazing how rejuvenating that is. I'm a big fan. I do that when I'm working a lot. I work sometimes, like yesterday, started at around 9 a.m. I finished at 11 last night, working on projects. And I will take a little nap here and there, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, get up, go back to work. And it helps a lot. Give us a call. Maybe you have a story about sleep.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-TALK.
So in this study, the midday sleep, a Dr. Kalistratos, is a cardiologist in Greece, at